my name is Naomi O'Brien. I'm a primary teacher, and I wanted to talk to you about how I teach my students about cultural intelligence and how I build cultural intelligence in my students. Before I even get into the lesson of cultural intelligence, I talk to my students about what culture is. Building cultural intelligence will come later. First, I want them to know about their own cultures so that they can know what makes them so special and unique, and they can understand why other people's cultures are so special and unique to them too. I do this by taking some time during the first days of school to have my students complete a culture flipbook. We go over the music they like, the food they eat, how they dress, where they go, their religion, what they wear, their family traditions, celebrations that they take part in. And instead of doing like the about me things and drawing pictures of yourselves at the beginning of the school year, I take time to get to know their cultures, and I also take that time to introduce my culture to my students too. So I take the first week or two of school to just explore my students' culture. They create these culture flipbooks and they write about what they wear, what they celebrate, what they eat, the music their families listen to. They're able to go home and talk to their families and bring their culture back into the classroom, and it's amazing. This is such a great and authentic way to get to know each other. They get to know things about each other that they may not have known. And sometimes they don't even know things about themselves. They'll have to go home and ask their parents or their caregivers about some information to fill in their flipbook, and they're able to learn something about themselves they didn't even know. If there's ever a part of their culture that they're not sure about, maybe their parents can't answer it or their caregivers can't answer it, we just try to fill in something else that they can think of or something else that's easy for us to come up with. So after we've discussed our cultures, the next lesson that will come later on during the school year, maybe the next month or two, will be cultivating cultural intelligence. Because in my classroom, we celebrate culture and learn about different cultures all year long. So I want them to understand why we're doing it. I am intentionally trying to build your cultural intelligence. I want you all to go out into the world and to be able to work with people from different cultures, understand people from different cultures, love people from different cultures, and that's what you have to do. You have to have cultural intelligence in order to do that. We take a look around and you can just see when people don't have cultural intelligence. You can see how unaccepting they are and unkind and ignorant they can be. So if we can intentionally teach students from such a young age to be aware of cultural intelligence and what it takes to be the kind of people that can understand and empathize with people from different cultures, we can set them up for success in the future. After we've learned to appreciate our own cultures, we start to talk about the fact that cultural intelligence is a thing and that we are going to be building it over the entire school year. And over the next, few weeks during social studies time, we talk about culture, why it's important, what makes cultures different. And we also get into the cultural intelligence piece. And I tell them all the time, this is going to help you relate to different people that have different cultures than you. When you guys grow up, you're going to have to work with people that have different cultures with you, and it will help you understand them better and work well with them if you are culturally intelligent. You'll be able to be sensitive and empathetic and understanding of the different foods and traditions and just ways of life. Like different people do things in different ways, and that's okay. I always tell my kids that. I love to move them from saying that's weird to that's different, and that's okay. What's really cool about getting into all of this work, and this is not just a one and done lesson. This is a lesson that keeps coming up over and over and over and over again. As you're reading books, as you're planning lessons, you want to be telling your students, oh my goodness guys, today we're going to build more cultural intelligence, or this just built my cultural intelligence. Now I understand this about this culture. So if I meet somebody from this culture, I can be more sensitive to their needs or understanding of their needs or accepting of their needs. And the kids get so excited about it, and they love to use these skills when they interact with people in the classroom and also outside of the classroom, which is a teacher's dream come true, right? So with building cultural intelligence, taking the example of food, we move away from just telling kids that people eat different food. Here's some of the different foods people eat, to understanding why people might eat certain foods or why they might not eat certain foods, and how they should respond to the fact that people have different foods for different reasons, and that those foods are important to them for certain choices. They could be religious choices. Doesn't matter. Just be respectful of it. Understand that it occurs, and just be respectful. As the year goes on, your students will really grow to understand that culture is everything. It's not just the food that people eat. It's the utensils they eat it with. It's the seasonings that went into the food. It's the place where the food was prepared. It's where the food was eaten. It's who the food was eaten with. The culture, it's just everything. We dig into the fact that culture is also ethnicity, and ethnicity is your nationality, your language, your traditions. So often in primary school, and really just in school in general and life in general, you see people being bullied or made fun of for their language or where they're from. And when people have cultural intelligence and can realize how important people are from no matter where they're from and how proud they are of their heritage, their tradition, their culture, and their language, it can curb some of that. Instead of it being something to laugh at, make fun of, or be afraid of, they will seek to understand it and grow with people and learn about people. I talk to my students about race and the fact that race is based on physical features that people may share, and people are grouped together because of these physical features like skin color and hair and the way their noses are and the way their bone structure is, and that people can be different races and this is okay. Culture is race. We need to see the beauty in it instead of just looking for the differences to be afraid of or to categorize people as less than. We need to see the differences to appreciate them instead. And while we have these lessons during social studies time, these lessons also come out in the books we read and other lessons throughout, our school day. Explaining the fact that culture is humor is also really important for me because so often I see kids making jokes that could be considered funny in their culture but offensive to somebody else. And when kids have the cultural intelligence to realize that not everybody would take this joke as funny and that maybe their joke actually wasn't a joke but it was racist or offensive, it helps them to build that empathy and build that understanding so that they don't grow up to become adults that do racist, insensitive, and offensive things and think they can just brush it off as a joke. And then, as always with any of my lessons, I always put it back on my kids to think about it. What is cultural intelligence? How can working to increase your cultural intelligence help you and those around you? Because that's the thing. We're not just working on cultural intelligence to appease other people. We're working on cultural intelligence because it makes us good people. That's what I want my kids to know. It makes you a good person to want to seek and understand other people who are different from you and not just to be closed-minded to it all. I hope this video was helpful and maybe you got some ideas of how you can start cultivating cultural intelligence in your classroom. I will link the products that you saw in this video below, and good luck with your students.